Hey, Shalon Winter here. Today's video is going to be about discipline. One of my favorite things when it comes to trading. One of the things that I believe is one of the most important things that you need to master. Discipline goes along with money management. I made my money management video a little while back and said a discipline video was to follow. Well, here it is. If you're struggling with it, you definitely want to stay tuned. I'm also providing a few pieces of resources that I made and I used to help overcome my own discipline issues. So stay tuned. Be sure to like, subscribe to this channel, like the video, comment, share it, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. Let's get started on this. As always, this is the risk disclosure. Trading is risky. You can lose all your money. Know what you're doing before you do it. So go ahead and pause the video now if you would like to read over this. If not, let's continue on. And also my own disclosure, I like to say that, I do talk a lot about Apex investing. I am an affiliate of theirs. I am not an employee. I simply use their tools for my own personal trading as well. So I like to clear that up because a lot of what I say aligns with their views, but is not necessarily exactly their opinions, and it's not meant as a statement of the company. So now that that's out of there, let's move this out of the way. Want to also have a quick announcement that currently Apex we're having a summer sale. All evaluations are 50% off. Use code WIN50. Get 50% off all evaluations for the first month and recurring months. Good through August 31st, as you can see there. Use code WIN50. All right. Another little announcement here. Today through Sunday, I'm doing an Apex Trader Funding Evaluation Account giveaway. Very simple. This Sunday is the 7th. August 7th will be announced. The drawing will be at 7 p.m. All you have to do is make sure you're subscribed to my channel. There's going to be the links in the description here. All these links here. You just have to enter your email into the first link, and that's mainly because if you win, I have to send you the coupon code for your free account. So that's the easiest way to do it. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel here, follow my Instagram, follow my public Facebook page. All of those links are going to be in the description. That's all you have to do to be entered into the drawing. Now, it is a free evaluation. You'll get it for free, but if you pass the first 30 days and get into the recurring months, that's when you will have to pay for the recurring months, and that's 50% off. So, moving along. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about now is discipline. This is everybody's, I'd say 95% of the people's problems is discipline when it comes to trading. I mean, it's very simple. So I had my other money management video that I made, and I mentioned in that one, I said money management and discipline will intertwine a lot. You can't have one without the other, in my opinion. But there's enough to talk about separately to have two separate videos on it. So I do apologize first and foremost that this discipline video has taken me as long as it has. I just wanted to make sure I have it good and right. And also, be able to note what I've been through personally. Because I'm not perfect. Nobody's really perfect. There's some traders that are out there that are amazing. And I like to say I'm becoming that. I'm still learning. And so I just want to be real with you, with everybody. I think everybody that knows me and follows me and, sees me around and sees me talking knows that I'm pretty authentic. I don't try to make it that I'm something I'm not. I'm not, making millions of dollars trading right now. I feel like I'm on the path to being a very successful trader. And I've had a lot of my share of problems with discipline, money management, psychology, and I've feel like I've overcome that, and I really have a lot of emotionless trading that I do now for months now. And I want to share what has worked for me. This is a big topic, and there's also some things that I created to really help myself do that and overcome those things, and being very, very strict. So, I'm why should you listen to me? I mean, I do have, like I said, I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I have overcome a lot. I've been trading for 2.5 years now in the futures market. I did futures prior. I'm sorry, not futures, but trading prior to the futures market, and some options and stocks, nothing big. And I do come from the finance industry. I was in financial services since 2008. I've been in nothing but finance and real estate ever since. Has nothing to do with trading. Futures and day trading is a whole nother beast. But for the last 2.5 years, I have been in the futures market, and I have crossed that discipline threshold. And I feel like everybody needs to go through it and really experience it in the pains to make that change. And because of that, this is my equity curve for the last, since the end of June, basically through the end of July. And I calculate, if you've watched my money management video, if you have not, definitely check that out. I calculate it. Everything I do is in the form of ticks. I don't look at dollar amounts. I don't look at P&L much. I look at ticks. I do like to look at P&L per week. I don't do it on a day-by-day basis. But this is ticks. And the reason why, I'll dive more into why I look at ticks, but that goes along with having a set money management plan. But because of that, very disciplined. You can see things get flat. Sometimes you get a little dip, but you keep going. As long as you're going from bottom left to top right, you're going to be good. Okay? So that's why I feel like I have some credibility to discuss and talk to you, along with the hundreds of people I talk to on a weekly basis about these things. I feel like everybody, I'm a firm believer in, if you're going to listen to somebody, make sure it's somebody that's been there or done that with what you're trying to do. I believe that wholeheartedly. So I want to mention real quick, I want to bring this up here, because I believe when it comes to trading, there's 3 steps to keep it very basic. Number 1, you have to have an edge, right? So, and the reason why I'm going to bring these 3 things up, because they all combine together to make you successful. You can't have one without the other. You need an edge, right? If you don't have any type of edge or strategy and you just go in and clicking buttons, that's not going to do anything for you. I'm sorry. Yes, I heard Mark Douglas say one time, a monkey can click a button and get lucky and get a big run. But can he do it consistently? No. What do we want to do here? Be consistent. Anybody can get a big run one day or one day every now and then, but every day, if you're trying to make a living at this, you got to do it day in and day out. You need an edge, some kind of strategy. And what I recommend, I know there's some strategies that people, say, well, because of my risk reward ratio and this and that, I only need to win 30% of my trades and I'll be profitable. That's fine. There's different strategies. My opinion is you need, for what I'm going to discuss and what works for me, your strategy needs to win 50% of the time, over 50% of the time. Over 50%. At least, 55. Over 50%. Okay? Number 2, money management. Okay? You have to have a money management plan. And in that money management plan, I believe your daily, not per trade, but daily risk to reward needs to be a 1-to-1. For example, if I'm risking $100 that day, I need to make at least 100. You could do more profit, that's fine, but have a defined number. And this is extremely important because, in my opinion, if you have a very strict, strong set, that's a lot of S's, money management plan, then that can allow your discipline to be very robotic because you're going to now put the probabilities in your favor. Trading is a numbers game. If you haven't heard it before, it's a numbers game and it's a probabilities game, right? We're going off of probabilities. This is the one industry, maybe not the one, but this is a industry where you're guaranteed to lose. Promise you, you're going to get a loss. You're going to have a losing day. Things are not going to go great all the time, right? So if we know that's true, we can't get flustered whenever there is that bad day. We have to rely on a money management plan. And if you can do that, that can essentially allow you to remove all emotions and be very disciplined, right? Now, we know we are humans, so we can't be emotionless, as they say. To trade, you got to be emotionless. We do have emotions, okay? We have emotions. That's nearly impossible. But you can be as emotionless as possible if you do this, okay? And I'll dig more into this in a little bit, but have a money management plan of at least a 1-to-1 ratio, okay? Risk to reward. Number 3 is what we're talking about now, discipline, okay? We need to have discipline. You need these 3 things. You need your edge, your money management plan, and you need to have discipline. And what I mean by discipline here is discipline to follow these 2 things, right? Follow your money management plan. Follow your edge, your strategy. The discipline to which requires patience as well. You got to be very patient. So discipline and patience to follow these plans. And if you follow it, make it systemized, then, because look at it this way. If you have a 1-to-1, if you're shooting for a $100 risk, and I look at everything by risk. I calculate and factor in risk first. When you watch my money management video, you'll see that. So if I'm risking $100 on the day, right, I know that's all I'm going to lose. If every day I'm either going to make or lose $100, but my edge gives me over a 50% win rate, just pure math puts the numbers in my favor, right? Don't you see that? It's that simple. That simple. The casinos, right? I love this analogy. I've heard many professional traders talk about this. Mark Douglas talks about this. Many people talk about this, that the casinos, we know the casinos are the house. The house always wins, right? But on all of the casinos have a small edge. Even if, what was it? Was it roulette? One of the games. It's not, people think it's a 50-50 chance, but it's actually 48 and 48. And then the house has like a 2% chance on top of that. I might have butchered that up, but point is, the house always wins. The casino wins. Why? Because they have the odds on their side. The odds are in their favor. So if we put the probabilities, we put the odds in our favor, what happens? We win. Now, we don't know if this 50+%, we don't know what series of winning that's going to do. You know, if our next 5 are going to be losers, if our next 5 are going to be winners, we don't know. But if we keep, the only way that we're going to fail by doing this is, and if you're following a money management plan and you have this edge, you have the discipline, The only way that this will not work is if you're trading too large, meaning, for example, if you have a 50K account, right, funding account from Apex Trader Funding, our threshold is $2,500, right? Let's say you are, just to keep math simple, let's say you take a loss of $1,000. Well, how many times can you lose? If you are going to blow out at $2,500 and you're taking $1,000 losers, well, you have 2.5 times before you blow that account out. Are the odds in your favor? No. Now, what if you have that $2,500 allowed, that's drawdown here, but instead you're taking a $100 loss? Now, how many chances do you have? How many times out of all those chances do you think you'll get on a nice roll of winnings? Do you think you'll have a nice roll of losers? Probably, right? But if you have that over 50% win rate and you give yourself enough chances, you're going to do nothing but be profitable by default. It's just the way it works. And it's just the way it works. So as long as you're not trading too large, that's the only thing that can mess this up. Does that make a little bit of sense? So that's why these three things to me go hand in hand. They're so important. Right now, yes, we're talking about the discipline, but this sets the foundation of why, right? Why the strict money management, why you need an edge. And then last, once those are in place, the discipline to follow up. And I think if you understand why these are so important, it makes it that much easier to have the discipline to follow it. Just my opinion, okay? All of this is my opinion. A lot of other people agree. And my track record, and I've funded multiple accounts this way, so it works. It works. All right, so what I want to do is, now you know why it's important, right? Let's go over how do we stay disciplined. If that's not enough, let's go. I'm just going to give you a couple tools here of what helped me. First of all, like I said, you have to have that edge, right? You have to have that edge. So this helped me perfect my edge. I use the Apex trading tools as well. They have beautiful boot camp. If you want to sign up for that, check it out. Link will be in the description. You can learn how to trade with their tools, but it doesn't matter if you use their tools or not, to be honest. You know what you have. You know what makes a trade setup for you, right? You have your entry. You know what tells you on your chart when to get in, right? I'm assuming so. If you don't, step one, find that out. Find an edge, find a strategy, something that has over a 50% win rate. You should know, have a predefined, something that says, hey, this happens, this is when I get in the market. Something very solid that you know. So when that happens and you follow your rules, we call that a valid trade. When you break your rules, that's not a valid trade, right? That's very simple. I made this when I was having some major discipline issues and when I was trying to make sure I didn't make mistakes. I created this. I'm going to give you everything I'm showing you in this video. There's going to be download links in the description. I'm not charging. Don't charge for these little spreadsheets. All I want to do is help people become successful. And if I can help people get through what I've been through, that's all I care about. That's what I want for everybody. Okay. So right here, let's take, yesterday was August 1st. You put the date in here. This is how you use it as well. Okay. So you're just going to put the date in here. And, for every week that you're trading, whatever, you just put the day under day. Okay. So if I traded today and I took 3 trades, right? 2 were valid by my rules and 1 was not. Pretty simple. I put in however many were valid by my rules and however many were not valid. Next day, I took 3 trades, all valid. Beautiful. Next day, 3 trades, all valid. Next day, 2 trades, 1. Next day, 3 trades, all valid. Whatever it is. You'll see here, it gives you the percentage of valid trades you took for the week. Okay? You do it every week, for every week. My goal was that I wanted to get this valid percentage up as high as possible, at least 90+%. I wanted at least 90% or more. Again, we are humans, so it's impossible to be 100% perfect. Unless if you're doing like some kind of automated trading strategy or something like that. You know, I have my opinions towards that. I don't like them. That's a whole other thing. I mean, nothing wrong with them. I personally just prefer to manually trade. But if you don't have an automated trading system and you're manually taking trades, this thing is great. I love it. And I believe this is set for, yeah, I have it all the way. I have enough rows to have a year's worth of trades here. Okay. I'm just going to go put this like, real quick, just fill this out so that way you can see something here. Boom. So when you have a month's worth, right, it'll tell you for the month up here, each month, what your overall percentage was. Okay. And like I said, my goal was every week to be 90+%, because going back to that 1, 2, 3 step I just showed where I had the edge number 1, step 1, we get our edge. If our win rates are 50+%, that means we need to be taking valid trades. If it's not valid, that'll knock it down a little bit, right? So my goal was 90+% of my trades to be valid. I'll still make a mistake here and there. You know, like I said, we're human. So step 1, take this valid trade tracker, make your own, whatever. I don't care, whatever helps you. This helped me tremendously because now I have something I can track. I have, you know, something, not instead of just me thinking things. I'm telling you, writing stuff down. If you're trying to do this professionally or full time or replace your income, you got to take this stuff seriously. Do anything you can to overcome this stuff. And this is what I could think of. I needed something tangible, something I could touch, not just because if you just think about it at the end of the day and you say, oh man, I know what I did wrong. I took this one was bad, blah, blah, blah. And you don't embed it into your psyche. If you don't actually do something to make a permanent change, even if the next couple of days are good, it's not going to last. You have to make a permanent change. This is how I made a permanent change. Okay. So I tracked my valid trades. Here's how many valid, non-valid, blah, blah, over 90%. Okay. So I did that. Once I started getting 90% plus every day or every week valid, bam, beautiful, perfect. Now I'm on a roll. I have my money management, right? Now I got to keep the discipline. So the money management's simple. That's just a plan, right? It's not something you really you do it once and then you have to have the discipline to keep it. You know what I mean? So now that I have my edge, I'm taking 90+% valid ones. I have my money management strategy. Now let's focus on the discipline to keep that. So I created this discipline. It's my daily discipline tracker. This is another very simple thing. Okay, I trade. This is how you use it. I trade for the day. It's Monday. I'm trading, blah, blah. And this is, again, my money management discipline tracker. So if my plan was, let's say my money management, excuse this ugliness, but let's say my money management is $100. Again, I'm saying $100 for the sake of this video, but if you watch my money management video, I think only in ticks. So actually, I'm going to go back to ticks because I don't want any confusion. So my money management plan, personally, I go for 40 ticks a day. And once I'm plus or minus, that's it. Okay, so as long as I followed this rule, I hit 40 ticks profit or 40 ticks loss, then I'm done. That means I stayed within my plan. I didn't go over, I didn't go under. Sometimes if you go over, like let's say you just saw something really beautiful and you shot for a larger target and maybe you got 50, 60 ticks. Nope. I mean, that's fine. That's never going to be a bad thing taking more profit, right? But you absolutely, if your risk limit is 40 ticks of loss, absolutely can't lose more than that. I'm not talking about a little slippage of 41, 42, whatever. But you can't move your stop and take on more risk. Okay? So, and that doesn't matter if your goal is 100 ticks for the day, up or down. Either way, it doesn't matter. So, whatever you want to do, whatever is your plan, that's up to you. That's your money management plan. But you got to stay in your within your plan, okay? So as long as you do that, like let's say I traded, I stayed within my plan. I didn't lose more than my plan. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Monday. I put a 1 right there, okay? I put a 1 and let's see here. So once you get to the next day, the same thing. All you're doing is just putting a 1. Now, let's say you messed up that day, right? And you moved your stop, you took an extra trade, whatever it was. You got to be honest with yourself. Nobody else is going to hold you accountable, right? Nobody else is going to. You got to hold yourself accountable. Essentially, you're in this by yourself. I mean, there's support systems, there's everything out there to help, but essentially this is almost like, kind of like if you're self-employed here, right? So you hit a 0. Okay, then let's say Thursday you got back on track, Friday you got back on track. Okay, but you still broke a rule that week. Okay, the goal is to have every day this week green. So then here you'll put the week of, whatever. I recommend doing so. What I recommend doing is filling this out for the week, right? And I recommend printing this out because if you go to print here, okay, then it'll print it out like this. That way now you can write the week of. Did I follow my plan? You'll circle yes or no. And if I did not follow my plan, what is my punishment? Write it down below and stick to it. This part is huge in my opinion, okay? That's what I did for myself. If I broke a rule, even if it's one day, because you should have no reason to break a rule. Yes, sometimes you'll make a bad trade, take a bad trade, make a bad decision, but you should never, ever break your money management plan. That can make or break or kill your account, kill your discipline, because once you make one mistake, once you break one day, then you can spiral out of control. As I mentioned in my money management video, is that one thing, and I've noticed this especially for myself along with many other traders I talk to, is all it takes is one little thing to go spiraling down. Very easy, very simple. And for me, that was even just the case of taking one extra trade that I shouldn't have. And this is why I say have a 1-to-1 ratio on your money management plan for the day. Your daily profit and loss. Let me do this. Your daily profit and loss amount, I recommend 1-to-1. Because let's say I lost 40 ticks that day, okay? And it was a bad day, whether if it was me taking bad trades, whether it was the market, whatever it was, I lost 40 ticks. But then the next day, if I have a great day and I hit 40 ticks or more, all it took me was one day to recover this loss, right? And so I say this all the time, is that if you follow your discipline, you stick to your plan, your money management plan, and if I have a bad day today and I'm here losing my 40 ticks, I'm there. Tomorrow, my tomorrow self will thank me today for stopping today. Promise you. This, every single time that's happened, no matter what I'm feeling that day. If I'm like, man, I took bad trades, this was a bad day, oh my God, blah, blah. The next day, I mean, that's why do you think there's that phrase that says, oh, you got to sleep on it? Well, it actually flushes. I've seen a scientific neuroscience terminology for it. I don't know what it is, but I forgot. But it's a thing where it flushes your brain out, actually. So sleeping on it, you feel better the next day. You know, whether it's a decision, whether it's a bad mood, whatever it is. That's why they say sleep on it, right? So you have a bad day in the markets. You sleep on it. You stop. You come back. You hit your profit the next day. Trust me, you don't forgot about yesterday. You're feeling great. Like, oh, I'm back to where I was. Okay, let's start. Here we go. Back on track. But if this 40 would have turned into 60, 80 or more, then the next day, you're not going to recover it all back. Now you're like, I made some of it back. You know, now I got to go make more the next day. It's going to take me a week to recover. That makes it so hard on your discipline. I'm telling you, it makes it so hard. So punish yourself. There's no reason why you should be breaking money management. And if you do, even if it's one day, punish yourself. If it's football season, you can't go without football on Sundays. I broke a rule during the week. I can't watch football Sunday. Whatever it is, take something away that you really like. Punish yourself. And then come back the next week. You do good the next week. You have all 5 green days for your money management. Reward yourself. Small reward, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be big. Something, some kind of acknowledgement. Have some kind of system for yourself. That way you're holding yourself accountable. Okay? So this, you want it to look like this. You have all 5 green. It'll highlight this 5. You print this out. Keep track of it, okay? Keep track of it. So now you have your edge. You know it's working. You're tracking your trades. They're valid. That's beautiful. Then this piece here, make sure you're staying within your risk management plan every single day. Track it, okay? Another thing, whenever you are trading, there's a lot of things that can trigger you, right? Your emotions, you're spiraling out of control, the tilt, everything that there is that we know that comes with trading. There's many things that can trigger it. What you need to do, what I would recommend, is having a piece of paper next to you. Whatever that trigger is, if it's you got in a trade, you have your stop, the market came out, got you, hit your stop to the tick, went on and it would have been a winner. If that's the trigger, like there's somebody said something where when something like that happens, you could feel like maybe your forehead gets sweaty, maybe you start grabbing the mouse tighter, maybe your heart's beating faster. These are little triggers, little signs that result in your discipline spiraling out of control. When you start noticing those things happen, write them down. That way, the next day when you're trading, you can have your notepad there, and when you remember and you recognize those feelings, all you got to do is just back away, step back, don't touch your computer, don't touch your mouse, and let that feeling subside. Say, oh, I've felt this feeling before. So a lot of this is conscious awareness. You have to have the conscious awareness of these things happening, right? You have to have the awareness of these things happening. And when you feel them, you feel the buildup, then you can say, haha, no, I've seen this before, been there, done that. It's not happening today. Okay. Another thing, so aside from those tools that I use, these are just some other pointers, some other ways of thinking that helps me, okay? Another thing is that, like I said earlier, with trading, what do we know? 100% guaranteed we're going to take a loss, we're going to have a losing day. In life in general, we're not conditioned to accept losing. From the time we're kids, when we're growing up, everything, especially if you've played competitive sports or anything like that, we're conditioned, and we all as human nature have a bit of competitiveness in us. We don't like to be wrong. We don't like to lose. But growing up in life, nobody ever teaches us how to lose. So in trading, we feel betrayed by a loser. Like, that's not supposed to lose. I shouldn't have a losing day. We're not accepting of it. Because we're not taught how to lose, we're not accepting of a loss, especially if you're overly competitive. And if you've played sports, you always want to win, right? We know how hard it is to be perfect, but in those type of situations, there is perfection. You can win every game, but in trading, you can't. So we have to be aware of that. As my mentor, Daryl Martin, he says, a loss is equivalent to like a business having an expense. So instead of relating the winning and losing like sports, because in sports you're not always guaranteed to lose, but in trading you are. Well, in business, you're not always going to have 100% profits without any expenses. So Daryl, I heard him say before that a loss, you just chalk it up as an expense for the day. That, I loved that saying, that analogy. I mean, it's great, right? Because we can't just have profits all the time. You got to have an expense every now and then. So if you take a losing day, a losing trade, chalk it up as that was my expense. Let's move on, right? And like I said, the main thing is having that money management in place, because if you put the numbers and probabilities on your side, you can be the casino in trading. You really can, because all you do is just work the probabilities and put the numbers on your side. Another couple more things I did. I made my own, I had a notepad, and I'd write down my emotions for the day, how I felt, how the market went. I did that along with my trade review every day. And you got to write it down. Hey, today I was calm. I felt great. I felt in the zone, blah, blah. Today I was like, not so much. I was kind of like cloudy in the head, this and that. Write those down, right? Write those down. I went on Amazon. Found me a little trading journal here. It's nice. You can write down all kinds of stuff. Write down your trades, all that. If you're a writer, I believe think and ink. If you write it, it's going to more likely to stick to your brain. They also have online journals. Those are great. I love those as well for ease and accessibility. But I also like to write it down. I saw another, I don't know. It's a study saying that when you think in ink, that there's a reason. The translation from your brain to paper helps it stick, right? So that's great. I love that. And then, another thing that really helped me was, like I said, thinking in ticks. I don't look at any dollar amounts anymore either. And I want to show you real quick a chart here. Pull this over. This is not how I trade, but this is just a chart here, trading chart. And I want to show you because I use NinjaTrader. What I do, normally you have a P&L here. I don't know if anybody's seen my screenshots or any of my trading videos, anything like that. You'll never see a dollar amount right there. I turn this off. I don't need a big fat green amount staring at me or red amount. I don't care. That's flashing signals to my brain and really clouding my thought process for what I'm looking at right now on the market. Because if I'm looking right here on the market, I'm looking at my charts and I see this can mess up my thinking. Okay. Also, on my chart trader, I go to properties. My P&L display unit is in ticks. So while I'm in a trade and I'm in sim, so I just like to confirm that. Let's sell here.
Order filled.
Okay. All you see here is 3 ticks. I'm down 3 ticks at the moment, right? Okay. I don't want to see the dollar amount there. All I want to see is the tick amount. Because if I'm shooting for 20 ticks for the day, 40 ticks for the day, or vice versa, yeah, I'll set my ATM strategies, right? I'll set my ATM to automatically be there, but all I care about is this tick amount. Here's the biggest reason why. It's very psychological. Because if I'm starting off trading one contract, okay? If I'm starting off trading one contract, do I plan to stay on one contract forever? Do you plan to stay on one contract forever? No, right? We plan on increasing. But if you get used to seeing a dollar amount there, look, let me try to change this while it's live. See what happens. If I change this to currency, okay, you see this dollar amount. But if I had 2 contracts and right now it's double. So if my mind is conditioned to see a dollar amount, then when I increase my contracts, if this trade was going against me and instead of it being, if I'm normally used to taking profit at, let's say $100, but now I doubled my size, I'm on 2 contracts. Now all of a sudden my position's in a losing position, but it hasn't hit my stop yet. But instead of being 100, it's down $150, $200. Psychologically, your mind is thinking, oh my God, I'm down so much. I'm losing so much money. This is bad. And you really get messed up, right? But if you're thinking in ticks, it always looks the same. Whether you're trading I wish I was in this trade right now. Whether you're trading 1 contract or 10 contracts or 100 contracts, it'll look the same right here. And that's huge because it doesn't mess up your psychological emotions and everything. It doesn't mess you up. So, because no matter what, and that's why I say if you can consistently have a target, whatever it is, if your goal is 40 ticks a day, 100 ticks a day, whatever it is, and you can consistently hit that every day, the ticks, then you can make, and you make $100 a day, then that means you can make $1,000 a day. You can make 10,000. You can make essentially as much money as you possibly can because it's the exact same thing. You're just increasing your position. That's all it is. You're seeing the exact same thing. There's nothing changing except for this click of the button. I just gave myself a raise and doubled my profits or losses. And that's it. Tripled, quadrupled. That's the only change. Like I said, that's huge psychologically. So I did that. That helped. That helped keep me my discipline in check, especially increasing contracts. That's the biggest thing. And I feel no change. So that's the main things I would just say. The 3 steps that I went over in the beginning. The valid trade tracker, your money management tracker, journaling, seeing everything in ticks. And also what I did was dive into every single thing I can find, search that had to do with trading psychology. Whether that was Mark Douglas, Apex Investing, Mind Mastery, books, podcasts, everything. I got obsessed with it because I knew at this point, and I'm sure there's people out there like me where you can do good for weeks at a time just to kill it in one day, blow it in one day. then you need to become obsessed with mastering that. Mastering everything with emotions and discipline. And I'm a firm believer is if you have that strict money management plan, it makes it that much easier to be more robotic and emotionless if you could follow it. Because now all you have to do is just have the discipline to follow it. And that's basically, I'm going to say that's about it on this video. I really feel like at this point, I think that's a lot to be able to help overcome most issues. And the ball is now, I like to say, in your court. When you're aware of everything you need to do, now you just have to take action. Have a conversation with yourself. Think about it. Look yourself in the mirror and say, how bad do I want this? Is this what I really want? Is this little piece of discipline or these little things the only thing that separates where I'm at now to where I want to be? The life that I have always envisioned, that I've imagined, that if I could only make this work, I could have all that. That's the only thing that separates it. If you have a trading strategy, a trading plan, and you know what you're doing, and you have great days, and you blow it all in one day, this is it. This is all you have to do. And you can have everything that you've ever wanted. Don't let this one simple thing, the thing right here between your ears, your brain, and your emotions, mess that up for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you get something out of it. Like I said, the links are all going to be in the description. The download links for the spreadsheets that I'm showing you, that's all going to be in there. I really, really hope it helps. Like I said, I'm not selling you any of this stuff. This is simply to help somebody that desperately needs it, because I know I did. I feel like I have overcome everything I've went over, and that is why I feel like I have the ability to speak on it now. So again, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe, share the video. I hope you get something out of it. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.